my dear sister, for that wonderful introduction. It's good to be in Chi-Town. And it hurt me, Brother Brown, when you said that politician. I think I heard you say the brother was from Cleveland, the bad one. That hurt sister's heart, because I'm from Cleveland, okay? From a different side, but Chi-Town, it's really good to be here with you in the Conference for Journey for Justice. And just to thank Brother Brown and all of the sisters, all of the folks who have organized and put their sweat equity behind making this coalition strong all across this country. When I was sitting at the table with my sisters, now y'all know sisters make it happen. Can I get, nothing about the brothers, but the sisters make it happen. I just got to put that out there. The sisters make it happen. And to listen to Brother Brown, I said, y'all don't need me. Brother Brown laid it all out. And all of this rich heritage that is right in this community, all of the folks that he named. And Ida B. Wells is sticking with me, but Shaka Khan almost broke out in song, but the sister can't sing. So I'm gonna stay in my lane. But my God, Sam Cooke, yeah, love me some Sam Cooke. But man, this is, and I know that he gave those examples because sometimes, sisters and brothers, we got to be reminded of who we are, what we are, and why we are important. And I often always say, titles are good. They get your phone calls returned. They get you in the room. Some folks with fancy titles, they in the room and they done forgot why they're in the room because they so caught up on the title. They forgot that they're there to serve the people. So titles are good, but purpose is better. And we need some more purpose-driven folks from all walks of life, and that is what the Journey for Justice Alliance is all about. So I just came by to bring you word, because Brother Brown done laid it out. Why you are here, what needs to happen, that we are not just coming together just to talk about how wonderful we are, how good we look, how bad we are, that we are here, that you are here to do a work. When Brother Brown said that he wakes up with freedom on his mind every day, that is a powerful spiritual statement. And that this coalition that is multi-ethnic, but understands the extra special struggle of black and brown folks in this country, and they are, I say, black and brown folks all across this world, that we can both talk about class inequity, but we must talk about race inequity too. The both go hand in hand. So I'm waking up with freedom on my mind too. And the successes to go from 13 cities to 31 cities, that is a beautiful thing. And so we got to remember that. So I just want to bring you a few words, and I'm trying to talk, because she told me, don't talk too fast, because I know the interpreter is here. She's doing a fantastic job. So it's going to change my rhythm just a little bit, but it's for the good. So I want to bring you word to remind you that there is no force more powerful on this earth than people power. No power. And that I just got to understand something, because I was asking my sisters, I just can't understand why we keep electing. Can I just go there? Yeah. The same folks who oppress us. That what I really love about the Journey for Justice and the coalition that you have built across ethnicities in this rainbow mosaic coalition that is here of black and brown and white folks and yellow folks and red folks. I'm putting everybody in this rainbow. But what I just don't understand, Chi-Town, is why y'all keep electing folks who come by your way during election time to whisper sweet nothings in your ear, and then they actually absolutely do nothing when they get elected. I don't know why we keep electing them kind of folks. So two of the greatest equalizers on this earth, the ballot box and education. And you all are fighting so, and where's my sister Robinson? Can I just, because I'm not on my notes anymore, but I just want to thank you for being a freedom fighter. See, sometimes we We don't shout our sisters out enough. We don't shout out our women enough. But I'm here to say you are cold. And that black girl magic is real. It's real, Sister Robinson. So, I just got to go there. Somebody who has served in the elected ministry that really elected officials only do what you allow them to do. And I know for me as an educator, because I just play a politician on TV, I'm really an educator. I'm a college professor. And those of you who've ever taken a class and you understand this, that there's something called the midterm grade, where the students have to check in. They want to know where they stand, whether they got an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. They want to know that middle of the way so that they can make a course correction along the way. Why don't we do the same things for folks asking us for our vote? We need to do a midterm and let them know where they stand. And if they're not standing up for us, why would we give them our vote? And we have been lulled into thinking that voting for the lesser of the two evils is okay when it is not. The lesser of the two evils is still evil any way you add it up. And some of the folks in this room, you can run for office if the folks who are serving you now are not answering to your babies, to your community, to this city, to this state, and to this nation. You run. But it is really time out for us just giving people away our vote. We just can't have that. We got too much on the line. And that is why the work that you are doing for Journey for Justice in making sure that people understand that just because there's this illusion of school choice doesn't make sure that it is a real choice. Now, our babies have to compete against other folks' babies from all across the country, all across the world, really. And so if education is the greatest equalizer, we have to ensure that children are not disregarded just because they come from a certain community or their parents are certain folks. We don't make the requisite investments, not only in this city, in this state, but also in this country to ensure that our babies can live up to their greatest selves. And that's our job. As grown-ups, as grown folks, to make sure that that happens. And so while education on one end, but the other end is politics, sisters and brothers. The suffering that we suffer is because of politics. So it does matter who we vote for. It matters that we get out to vote. In my great state of Ohio, only 20% of eligible voters even showed up to vote during the primary, and we wonder why we get what we get. And even in this state, as I came here a few months ago supporting candidates under the banner of Our Revolution, to find out that in the primary, Brother Brown, right here in Chicago, on the Democratic side, that one of your candidates spent $70 million in the primary. That folks are just flat out buying these seats. And so, for all that we love and all that we care about, we have to make sure that we get campaign finance reform in this country so that everybody will have a fighting chance. Folks should not be able to buy seats. And any blue-collar worker should be able to say, I want to run for office someday, and not worried about whether or not they're wealthy or have wealthy connections. This system is pricing out everyday people like us from being able to even run for office. And it is a sin and a shame. And so this coalition that you have and what you are fighting for really is about the collective energies of everyday people, as Brother Brown said, putting a little extra on your ordinary so that extraordinary things can happen. All the changes in this country have happened not because of the grass tops, but baby, because of the grassroots. Sisters like Sister Robinson. So I got my quote from Sister Ida B. Wells, and she said the following: the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. The way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. And that is what you're doing in this coalition. And so what Brother Brown is saying, that y'all got to leave here more committed than when you walked in. And I'm going to put it to you this way. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because when you're fighting against the status quo, baby, ain't nobody going to give you anything. As Brother Frederick Douglass said, power conceives nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will. So these folks ain't just going to roll over just because you're fighting the good fight for the right reasons to make sure that your babies have a great education so that they can live out their greatest greatness. You're fighting this fight to restore communities. But they just ain't gonna give it to you. You got to fight for it. And this is about, we do want our villages back. Amen to that. So this is the liberation struggle, is what it is. And it is gonna take a multi-ethnic coalition of not just anybody, of conscious-minded folks who have courage and heart and determination and conviction, and who understand that every step that they make, they walking in somebody else's footprints. So I'm gonna close this thing, and I'm not feeling too well tonight, but hopefully that's not coming through. But I'm feeling my energy restored because of people like you, who come from all walks of life all over this country, saying that we're going to come together and do a new thing. So I just came by to bring you word that, folks, that God's got your back. But he does work through people, and you are those people. And that you got to remember in the freedom struggle that the mission is so high you can't get over it. And that the mission is so long, you can't get under it. And the mission is so wide, you can't get around it. And that your presence, you're making your presence felt whether the grass top title folks want it or not. Because all paths come through you. And yes, you're going to be discouraged sometimes. You're going to want to cut some folks out sometimes. You might actually do that sometimes. But I want you to know, and I know we probably got Muslim sisters and brothers and Buddhists and just wherever you come from, that's a beautiful thing for me. But just from the Christian tradition, there's a verse in the Bible that says the race is not given to the swift or to the strong, but to he or she who endures to the end. This is an endurance race, baby. And we're going to walk some of these folks down. But I'm serious about this, sisters and brothers. You got to make a demand of these folks. And if they're not serving your communities, and if they're not serving our babies, our legacy, then they got to go. And I don't care what their political affiliation is. And I hope you're feeling me on that. You know, one of my mentors on the Cleveland City Council, and she longest serving woman on City Council, she since has transitioned on. Her name is Fannie M. Lewis. And she used to say the following words: it doesn't matter if you meant to kill me on accident or by on purpose. Dead is dead. Mother wit. And so what I'm saying is that these folks who hold these offices, who are not willing to spend your tax dollars in a way that lifts all children and make excuses. As the urban poet Tupac said, we got money for wars, but we can't feed the poor. If these folks talking about how they can't finance your school system in a way that lifts all of our children, then you need to elect somebody who can. The money is yours. It's not their money, it's your money. You direct how that money is spent. But we got to hold these folks accountable. So I want you to remember, we must protest. Absolutely. We got to stand up and be accounted for. But baby, while some people protesting, we need other folks planning. And that is what the Journey for Justice Alliance is about. It's about the plan. Organize, 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 organize. And when you're done organizing, organize some more. And I don't want you to get weary and well doing. This is hard. People gonna come at you. They're gonna come at you. The people with the power are gonna come at you. But they can't do nothing with you. Because the power is on the side of the people, and let you not forget that. So 3 things in my real closing. You know, when you're a politician that got some preacher-like tendencies, you get 4 or 5 closing sisters, you know what I'm saying? Man, I'm starting to feel better now. Shot-time. I do come to bring you word. Three things I want you to remember if you don't remember anything else I've had to say. Number one, I believe that the creator of this great universe has given us 2 hands, one to reach forward and one to reach back, lifting as we climb. And that's what the journey for justice is about. It is a journey. Journeys never stop. They keep going. Generation after generation after generation after generation. And every generation is charged with doing something to lift the next generation. That is our path. Yes. So 2 hands, one to reach forward and one to reach back. Number 2, but most importantly, sisters and brothers, hear me now. We can't ask other folks to do more for us than we are willing to do for ourselves. And I know I'm quoting Brother Frederick Douglass. He's just quotable tonight. I'm just feeling them all, brother. I'm feeling them. But he said that you might not get everything that you work for, but you will work for everything that you get. And as a people, we understand that. We get that. But lastly, in the words of my grandmother, who was born in 1913, my grandmother could not read or write, but sisters, she could count her money. And she kept her money in the Southern ladies. In the Southern ladies Bank and Trust. Southern ladies Bank and Trust. Any of y'all got them Southern grandmas, they pull out that handkerchief out the bosom. How much you need, baby? How much you need? And grandma packed a pistol in there too. That's a whole nother story. So, when I asked my grandmother, what does it take to be successful? Because I was an inquisitive little thing. And she would tell me what her mother would, which means wisdom in the black community. Yeah. Just that show enough. Tried and true, amen. See, I like, see, they amening back to us, sister. I'm feeling it. This is how I like it, the call and response. But I asked my grandmother, what does it take to be successful in life? She said, my dear granddaughter, all you need are the 3 bones. The wishbone, the jawbone, and the backbone. She said, the wishbone will keep you hoping and praying, because hope is the motivator, but the dream is the driver. The reason why we're doing what we're doing, the reason why you're here this weekend at this alliance is because you're hoping and praying that tomorrow will be better than today, and you are ready to put some sweat equity behind that hope and that prayer. Your prayers. But she said the jawbone will give you courage to speak truth, the power to lift your voice, to make your presence known. You don't have to have a fancy title to do that. By virtue of your birth, you are more than somebody. She said, but all the hope and the wishing, the talking, the praying, and the worship, she said, all that stuff, baby, is real good. But it doesn't mean a thing unless you have the super catcher. Fragilistic. I don't know how they're going to interpret that. Expialidocious. I'm worried about my interpreter right here. How's she going to break that down? The superfragilistic expialidocious bone, which is the backbone. Because the backbone will keep us standing through all of our trials and our tribulations. And sisters and brothers, can I say this? In this life, we're going to go through some stuff. But you can't have a testimony without a test. And you are being tested. We are all tested along this journey about whether or not we got courage and conviction enough to do what it is that we need to do. To be on the right side. Being on the right side doesn't mean that you're always right, but to be able to use our strength and our power and our might from a physical, spiritual perspective to lift. Booker T. Washington once said that there are two ways of exerting one's strength. One is by pushing down, but the other is by pulling up. What type of people are we? We got to be the pull-up kind of folks. That's what this alliance means. That is what you're doing. So for every ounce of your time, your talent, and your treasure that you pour into this organization, no matter where you are from in this country or across the world, time, talent, and treasure, so we won't have many tears. We got to put in the time. We got to invest our talent. Sometimes we got to give up our treasure so that the only tears that we have will be tears of joy because we worked hard to make a certain result happen. We got to make this stuff happen. And our babies are dependent on us. So Journey for Justice, I am just so proud of you. Can a sister take 2 more minutes to testify? You know, it's been a hell of a day to me, and for me, I said hell of, new levels, new devils. I'm just gonna put that out there. New levels, new devils, and when you are a sister in leadership, it is so, Sister Robinson, it's hard. So I want you guys to pray my strength. I got some stuff coming up against me, but I tell you this. I am a hell-raising humanitarian. Nobody's going to take that away from me. I fight for the people. But the reason why what you're doing for Journey for Justice means so much, if I could just testify for you how I got over, my soul looks back and wonders how I got over. You are saving the lives of some children. Some you know and some you do not know. But my parents got married very young. They got married as teenagers and it didn't work out. So I grew up the majority of my life in a single mama household. If I'm preaching down somebody's street, just say amen. And I'm the oldest of 7 children, and I had a defining moment in my life in the early 90s, 1992. When I got home from school, there was a note on the refrigerator door. For the millennials, we didn't have text messaging. It was just good old-fashioned note on the refrigerator door. And that note told my husband and I that we should go to the hospital because my mother was there. And I didn't think anything of it because my mother had a history of high blood pressure. Little did I know that that moment was going to be a defining moment in the lives of my siblings and myself. I'm the oldest of 7 children. We get to the hospital, and a nurse takes my husband and I back to this room called the family room. All 6 of my siblings were already there. They were all crying. My brother, who is the second oldest, who is 6 feet 5 inches tall, was crying like a baby. I had not seen him cry since he was a little boy. I knew that all was not well. The doctor came into that room, and she said, "Family, your mother is in a coma." And I asked to be able to go to that room to see the woman who had given me life, a woman who had sacrificed, a woman who was not perfect. But she was my mama. My mother never made it from that hospital bed. There was a machine by her side keeping her alive, and the doctor came to me as the oldest, and she said, "We gotta pull the plug. We can't keep her plugged up here. She is dead. And you, as the oldest child, have to make the decision on when to pull the plug." My mother died at the young age of 42 years old. She didn't have a life insurance policy, and she didn't have any money in the bank. I'm 22, and I'm the oldest of 7 children. All of us are 2 years apart, and my baby sister is 12. I'm married, I got a son, and now I'm a real mama for real. I share that story with you because you never know what you are pouring into somebody else's kid. And the fact that people did not give up on me, and that I was able to finish my community college and matriculate to a 4-year university and collect some other degrees. And every degree that I earned, I took it in my mama's name, even though she never lived to see it. So the journey for justice that you are making, these demands that you are making all across this country, for our children to be able to have the best education, you are saving somebody's life. And so the reason why we're in this fight, the reason why I shared that story with you is because I use the power and the cachet that the Lord has given me to ensure that I do my part to make sure that nobody else's child or nobody else in this country has to worry about asking this question that Langston Hughes asked in his poem, what happens to a dream deferred? That is what the Journey for Justice Alliance is all about. You are combining your energy and your synergy to ensure or to minimize the likelihood that anybody else's child would have to answer the question, what happens to a dream deferred? And in lifting other people, you are indeed lifting yourselves. Because it really is about what we do for others. That is what is going to stand. So I hope that you do wake up every morning with freedom on your mind, determination on your mind, and to know that you were built for this moment, and that you take my grandmother's 3 bones, the wishbone, the jawbone, and the backbone, and to know that the mission that you're on is divinely ordered. So God bless you, Journey for Justice.